What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day out there today, guys. We're doing a little bit of work on the Traxxas X-Maxx. One of the last videos you guys seen with this car, unfortunately, I didn't get very much runtime and I didn't really get to jump it and do a whole lot with it because the rear diff exploded on it and just was kind of having a lot of issues. A-arms breaking, a little bit of everything. I just got done rebuilding the rear diff. I got new ring gear on there, new pinion. I replaced the bearings in the rear end and kind of went over everything. I also put an aluminum hot racing diff case on this on the rear. I was talking with Speed Psycho and he told me that since he put his on his two X-Maxxes, he has really had hardly any issues with the rear diff. So I figured for the 45 bucks or whatever that thing cost, it's worth it. I'm going to give it a try on there, see if it helps keeping this rear diff on there, especially with the power plant we're running in the X-Maxx. This is the new Hobbywing 1100 kV motor. So much lighter than that 800, guys. So much lighter. All right, guys. Well, what we're going to work on today is installing the new center drive shaft system from M2C Racing. This is still prototype. It is not out just yet. A bunch of different guys are running these things and putting them through their paces and making sure it's going to hold up, because it's one of the great things about M2C, guys. They really, properly test out the parts, make sure this stuff is going to hold up under some of the worst conditions, and people really beating on this stuff. So we're going to get this thing installed. We're going to put in the aluminum center drive shafts on this. They also sent me a set of steel. We're going to test out, see which ones are going to hold up and work the best. We're obviously going for, the lightest as possible. So we're going to get this thing installed. We're going to kind of go through this thing step by step, show you guys how it installs, how it works out. Probably the final product will be slightly different, just with the way that the drive shafts connect up to these centers. This is going to be a CVD style, as you can tell. So they are going to have a lot more flex, a lot more movement to kind of work with the chassis rather than bending up. It'll allow for that adjustment so it's not bending up the drive shafts all the time. So we all know, they work really well with all the travel on your tires. So putting together the same idea for the center drive shaft, and guys, I really think this is going to be an awesome setup and just a huge game changer for the center drive shaft system, because everybody has so many issues with this. It's been a constant problem. I am on my fourth drive shaft in the center of this thing right now from this summer. I've tried cutting them in the middle and putting the extra spline in there to create more play. I put the block in there with 2 bearings. They still keep bending up constantly. So I'm excited to give this thing a try out, but we're going to go ahead, get this thing started, and I'll show you guys, so stay tuned, everybody. Okay, guys, well, went ahead, got the bottom cover off there, pulled out the old drive shaft, and dropped in the new center section, and this thing just fits in there beautiful, guys. The machining work is just incredible. But we got that thing dropped in there so far, and also pulled out the old spline from the rear. And with the 2 splines you get with the new kit, obviously, you will see you have a male and a female. The male goes into the rear, and the female goes into the front. We're going to go ahead and get these stuck in there, and I'll bring you guys back after I get these in there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the CVDs assembled and with the center carrier. Now, there's 2 different revisions. Now, you're going to see me using this one right now. This is a temporary setup because this was just for the preliminary testings of this thing. Obviously, you can see the pins on one side are held in by the bearing. On the updated version that will be on the main product that they release, both pins will be covered by the bearings. So once you get the CVDs built, the bearings will slide over it, and that's how the pins will be captured on there. Now you're going to see me on this one using basically a piece of shrink tubing to hold this retaining pin in, because there's a change in the axles. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is going to be what you guys will see. It'll capture like that once the CVDs are in there, and the bearings will retain the pins. But we'll go ahead and get this one put together, and that's what this kit right now is for, because the CVD ends are the same tolerances as the Arma style. That's why we're using this. But this will come in the kit you get, so you don't have to worry about purchasing that stuff and dealing with that part. So we are going to go ahead and start getting this assembled. But guys, really excited to get this thing in here. I'm really excited because with the new motor set up finally in this thing, you guys have been watching any of the videos, have seen that the motor in this X-Maxx, it had tons of power, but it was too much. It was too heavy and just too much low end. It was not the right power system that I liked, at least for me at any rate. Some guys, hey, if you like it and you're enjoying it, that's awesome. Just as far as how I like driving, I just don't like all that low end and all that massive torque. So here's where we're going to use the shrink wrap. I'm going to go ahead and slide this over here. And I think I can use my lighter, hopefully. It decides to work. It always seems to be intermittent on the way it wants to work. Like I said, guys, you guys will not have to do this. This is just for the testing setup. So you guys won't be having to do the shrink wrap stuff. Long story short. So go ahead, and now we got this all in there. Now this is what you're going to end up with. Basically, there's a longer side and a shorter side, and go ahead and slide this thing in the car, and I'm going to go ahead and get this thing started in there, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys can see well enough. So went ahead, put the bearing and locked that side in on the front here, and got that drive shaft installed, and now I just got the CVD hooked up in this center part. We're going to slide the bearing up here to the front. This will lock in this pin, and this is how both pins will be on the final product. And then she should just slip right down into the carrier, just like that. Man, guys, that fit up beautiful. Thing looks awesome. Really nice. I cannot wait to take this thing out and give it a rip. But guys, I mean, the flex that this allows, I'm going to try to show you here without doing it, but I mean, you can see the amount of flex that this new system with the CVD style allows. It should hopefully, allow for that chassis to flex the way that it does and quit twisting these things up and creating a noise and destroying the rear differentials and everything else. Because when this thing starts wobbling, I mean, obviously that's putting a lot of strain on your pinions and your gears and everything in the diffs, because that thing's flopping around and throwing all the tolerances off. So this thing is going to be huge. I'm really excited about this thing. As soon as we heard about this thing, they were working on this. I could not wait to get this thing installed and give it a try. But that's all there is to it, guys. Like I said, the final product will be slightly different because the capture pins will be to either end here. But we're going to get this thing finished up. I'm going to finish getting this thing together. We're going to get the new motor installed in this beast. And can't wait to take this thing out. I think me and Trevor are going to take, obviously, the X-Maxx and maybe a few other cars out to either the BMX track tomorrow or the skate park. It's supposed to be up in the 50s and actually a decent day, so I'm excited to take this thing out and give it a proper rip. Also, guys, we did replace the rear A-arm. I put another RPM on this thing for now, since that's what I had around all of it. I grabbed an extra set, so just in case, I had to break another one, I'm going to keep it with me so that I can change it on site. But I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this thing together, and I'll show you, when it's all together and finished up and ready to roll again, guys. One other thing, guys, while I was putting this together, there is no need for an extra cover like the center brace with the two bearings and stuff they use. This is made for the bearings to capture perfectly inside the normal center section of your rear cover. So all you gotta do is, once you get all that installed, go ahead and snap that down, screw her down, and she's ready to roll. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this together, and I'll bring you guys back when she is finished up and ready to roll. Well, the X-Maxx is ready to rip once again, guys. We got the new prototype M2C Racing center drive shaft in here. Really excited to give this thing a try out, guys. I know a couple other guys have been running this thing and having really good luck with it, so I'm excited to take this thing out and rip it with the new 1100 kV Hobby Wing motor. And guys, I'm running the 2850 gearing on this for right now. I have some other gears on order. But that was the biggest gear I had on hand, so we're going to run this thing tomorrow on that, see how I like it. Probably going to need to gear it up some more, but we're going to give it a try and give it a rip. Excited to take this thing. So much lighter, this motor. The 1100 kV is definitely the proper motor for this truck. Got so much more space, a lot less weight. Just really happy with that motor setup in there. Fit up in there beautiful, so I'm glad I went to the 800. Curious to see how I'm going to go rip it, see how I like it. I think I'm going to like it a lot more, but time will tell, right? Also, guys, tomorrow we're going to be testing out the new shocks. This is a new valve kit from M2C Racing that we're also working on in kind of a work in progress. So I'm running stock oils with the M2C pistons in this thing. We're going to take this thing out and see how suspension works on it. Feels really nice on the Benson drop test, but we're not going to know for sure until, it takes those nice, hard, heavy landings at the skate park or down at the motocross track, and we'll get a little better idea, if the valve's got to get bigger, smaller, or, what exactly we got to do. But also, guys, we got the, I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but the Hot Racing rear differential case on this thing to help, get that rear differential, and so it's not tearing itself apart. I appreciate Speed Psycho for recommending that. And I know he said that he was having a lot less issues with rear diffs on his car after putting that cover on there. So appreciate the idea, and let me know about that. So, but guys, I think that's going to do it for the X-Maxx. She's ready to rip again and better than ever. Runs so nice and smooth. With this new center drive shaft in here, I mean, it's just everything moves and reels so much nicer now. I think that center drive shaft I had in there, it was bent, so it's binding up, and hopefully, guys, this is going to cure all those problems. So really excited. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video, too, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So until next time, y'all be safe, be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.